Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you here. I'm Sandra Grauschop. I'm the marketing manager here at Kodeco, and we're hosting this webinar because I know a lot of people have questions about how a coding bootcamp works. So we have brought together our lead mentor, Eric Jenkinson, and a recent graduate, Brian Harshaw, to talk about our program and to hopefully answer any questions you might have. So Eric is going to give a presentation where he tells you how the bootcamp works, what to expect as a boot camper, and how to prepare yourself for success. And Ryan's going to talk a little bit about his experience in the bootcamp. And Kayla Cook here is our bootcamp program coordinator, so she'll be able to answer any questions about how to set up an account or how things run from our end. At the very end of the presentation, we're also going to give you a discount coupon. If you'd like to join our bootcamp, you're more than welcome to. You can use the coupon to get a nice break on the price. We know bootcamps aren't for everybody. We're not going to try to pressure you into buying anything here. We are going to tell you about some of the drawbacks too. It is an intense program designed that way to help you get up to speed as quickly as possible. That's not for everyone. It's fine if it's not for you. But we're hoping it will be and that we can show you how to make the most of it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric for his presentation.
Hi, everyone. Hello, and welcome, and thank you for joining us today. Here we're going to talk about is if the Kodeco iOS Accelerator Bootcamp is right for you. My name is Eric Jenkinson, and I'm the lead mentor for the current cohort right now. So who am I? I'm probably like most of you guys. You may have some IT experience like I have, or you just considering changing careers. I did that for quite some time, tried that, looked at other courses, online courses, books, and such like that, but nothing really seemed to stick. I joined the Kodeco Bootcamp in 2022, and it was a very intensive time frame. But after the boot camp was over, within about 3 or 4 months, I was able to find my first job as an iOS developer. I like the boot camp so much and how well it it helps prepare people, and I like the fact that I'm able to help people learn as well. So I came back as a mentor. So let's talk a little bit about the boot camp. So the boot camp is a 15-week course. This is a very, very intensive course. The intent is to take you from a beginner to career-ready role as a junior developer. Again, I can't stress enough, this is very intensive. Each and every week, you will be getting new content to go over and review. Content will be things such as our video courses, book chapters, and recommended articles. And at the end of each week, you'll have a homework assignment. And this is more to, for you to practice what you've learned and to gain some skills using iOS. All of this will build you up to the point where towards the end of the bootcamp, you'll build a capstone app. And what the capstone is, it's basically a non-trivial app. This is, you're going to have most of the features that you would see in many apps that you use today. And you're going to learn this in 15 weeks. So let's talk about how the bootcamp philosophy is. So what we use here is we use a flipped classroom method. What that means is instead of the mentors, leading the learning goals, this is more directed towards you as the student. So the student's going to review the content, go through the content, and generally ask questions to the mentors, bring this up during any of our sessions. And the point of this, so that we can better focus on the areas that you find the most confusing or the most difficult. This is a group that we really depend on questions. So we know a lot of people are shy. Questions are the big thing. You're going to find this in your career, that generally when you're given new stuff, the expectation is that you're going to ask questions and not wait, for hours until deadlines are due before you raise your hand and say you need help. We also support each other. So while we encourage everybody to ask questions, we also encourage those to answer questions as well. Even if you don't really quite have the exact answer, the process of answering other people's questions while you're learning helps reinforce your knowledge as well. So you're sharing knowledge and you're gaining knowledge at the same time. It is a win-win situation here. There is a lot of content that we're going through. You're looking at 4 to 9 hours of content each and every week. It is easy to get overwhelmed, but don't get overwhelmed. Stay focused. We are here to help you. We talked about the live sessions. We have 2 of those each week. They're about an hour long. On Mondays, we introduce the content for the week. So we'll give you a quick overview of the content you're going over. And we also have guest speakers and other mentors give presentations as well on personal professional development skills, as well as other technical skills that that we find as mentors find useful, that you guys would find useful inside your career. We also take special requests as well too. So if there's any topics you'd like to learn about, I highly encourage you to bring those up. On Thursdays, we do the homework. We'll go over the homework assignment for that week, and we will, again, we'll have some more presentations as well. The first half of the meetings of these live sessions, we are all in one giant Zoom session. Some people can get very nervous with a lot of people. So the second half of the session, we break up into what's called breakout rooms. These are going to be led by your mentor. And in there, you guys can discuss anything. You can go over the homework problems. You can, any questions that you might have about the content. You can also ask your mentor to provide you other detailed information, presentations, or help on anything else related to iOS development, Swift UI, or even professional development. Really pick their brains and find out what it's like, because all of our mentors have experience, are experienced iOS developers. So what is this going to require for you? I mean, if your goal is to become an iOS developer, this is it. This is an intense program, and I cannot stress that enough. The expected workload that we'll see from students here is about 25 hours per week. Some students that have a technical background, they may take less than 25 hours per week. Some students that don't have the technical background, and this is really all new to them, they may spend a little bit longer. But in each cases, we have people here to support you to get through the content. One of the things that we recommend is that you spread the work out over the week. Each Monday, you receive the new content that you're going to go over, and you should spend each day going over a little bit of the content. Don't try to consume all this at one time. It is a lot of content, and it's not really possible, even if you are experienced, it's not really possible to do this in one day or over the weekend. This is going to take a lot of work, but in 15 weeks, you're going to be job ready. Let's talk about the homework assignments. So we give out homework assignments each week. They come out on Thursdays. You have until the next Monday session to turn that homework in. The homework serves many purposes. The first one is this gives you hands-on experience at iOS app development. You're going to be doing things, creating small little apps. You're going to be testing new content pieces there, new knowledge. And also, if you have the time, and we really hope you do, we have optional requirements in those homework assignments. And these are a little more challenging. They're still on the content that you go over, so there's no trick questions, but they're things that are a little bit more difficult to grasp, but will generally take you a lot further. Those are optional. Homeworks are on a pass-fail basis. So it's really simple. You just have to do the requirements. Each homework has a list of requirements that you have to meet, and they're spelled out. It's very easy to follow. As you go through each week and you build these homework assignments that get more and more complicated using more and more of the iOS technologies, you're going to get to the point around week 10 where that you can now start building a app, a full-blown app, loading screens, animations, network connectivity, data, saving data, updating data, all of it. If there's apps you've seen out there, chances are you'll be ready to make those types of apps. Now, what does this course cover? Well, obviously, we're going to cover the Swift programming language. We're going to take you through the beginning basics, and we're going to take you all the way through the advanced parts. You're going to learn Swift UI, which is Apple's new user interface toolkit. And in that, you'll learn things such as layout, navigation, displaying data, and animation. You'll learn how to save data on the device, which, for example, you'll learn how to save things into user defaults or the document directory so that you can persist user settings or data between runs of the app. You'll also learn how to obtain data from remote resources. So you'll connect to another server and download JSON data and prepare that and display it to the user. In order to do some of these things, you're going to learn about concurrency, where we use Swift's modern concurrency to, we'll learn from the basics of just connecting to a network resource all the way through WebSockets and streaming. To help you maintain your code and to add new features and such like that, we're going to teach about debugging. And we're going to show you the tools that are available in Xcode to debug your programs. And you are going to have to debug them. Another thing that you're going to do in your job is, as you're debugging things and you're making changes, adding new features and such, you want to ensure that you don't break anything that's already working. That's a very common concern. To do that, you use unit testing and UI testing. These are two different things that test specific features. Unit testing tests the logic, the business logic, and UI tests obviously the user interface piece. These are very critical skills to learn, and they are something very sought after by employers. Also, throughout the boot camp, you're going to use source control. We use Git, which is the most popular, most well-used source control system. And this is another tool that is, highly, where employers really like that you have skills in this. So now that we talked about, what all the boot camp entails, what are some things that we can do? Like, for example, my experience as both a student and a mentor in the boot camp. The biggest thing is going to be schedule. Once the boot camp starts, it's like a snowball rolling down the hill. It does not stop until the end. So you really have to know what your schedule is going to be over and during that time frame. It's easy because you know the boot camp schedule in advance. You know what the expected time frames are going to be for this. So one of the things that I highly recommend is that you discuss the boot camp and your goals with your friends, families, and loved ones. Not only do you need their support, and that's the single best source of support you can get in meeting this goal, but it also helps them better understand and you better plan over these next 15 weeks so that they know you're going to need a little bit more time to handle this. In addition to your friends, family, and loved ones, know your work schedule. This, it's, you want to make sure that you don't have any big projects at work during this time frame, or, if you're in the IT piece there, any type of large deployments or maintenance work. This is a very intensive course and it requires a lot of dedication. Again, this may not be for everybody. We do have other options. We have an on-demand boot camp as well too that follows a very similar time frame here, but it doesn't have the time constraints. That's a more learn as you go type situation. Engage, 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 engage. This is the big thing. This content that you're going to go over is pre-recorded. You're going to read book chapters that have already been written, but you should ask questions. Ask questions of the content. When you see the guy in the video giving you some details and showing you some code, if you don't understand it, ask questions about it. Write them down on a piece of notebook paper. Keep a notebook by your side. So write those questions down and ask them. Try them out. I very encourage that you experiment when you get all the code for all these for all the content. Experiment with them. Try new things. Break it. See if you can fix it. And even if you get down into a giant rabbit hole, reach out to your mentors. They would love to help you go through that. I mean, I do. I spend a lot of time with students each week going over the content. We're helping them work on their homework, as well as helping them, in things that they're doing on their own, where that they're digging a little bit deeper into things. You also should understand that you're going to be in this boot camp with other students. And, these students are just like you. They may already have professional careers. Some of these students are going to be, their job is paying for them to be here. So they may already be iOS developers. That's not advertised. You have to talk to the people, get to know the people that are on your team. It's about 10 to 11 people. Introduce yourself, be friendly, ask questions and answer questions. Don't isolate yourself. When I was in school, I always took the back room, the chair in the back in the corner. That was just me. Here, it's very easy since we're online to just leave your camera off and just sit back and be quiet. Don't do that. You get more value by engaging the content, your mentors, and other students. If you don't understand something, ask a question. You should never, ever worry about, somebody saying that's a silly question, or, why didn't you Google that first? You're not going to hear that from any mentor. And you shouldn't hear that from any student. We are all here to help and support you in your goal to be an iOS developer. Get to know your mentors. Your mentors are professional iOS developers. They came from various different backgrounds as well, too. We have experience on interviews, hiring, day-to-day work. Ask us these things. I mean, when you join the boot camp, you're not just getting content to read and view. You're getting people to interact with them, talk with them, get every little bit of information you can out of everybody. Use that, use the content to build your knowledge, ask questions to take it further. And when you're watching and reading the content, don't just simply watch it. Write down questions whenever you see things. The content videos are gonna show them typing out the code there. Do that as well too. Of course you can download the code, but try doing it with them. Pause the video, take a little bit of time so you can think it. The more you get your hands on the keyboard, the better your learning is going to be. And this is something, if you join us the next boot camp, you'll hear me say quite a bit. And my students hear this as well too. Programming is not a spectator sport. Nobody excels in this field or becomes an experienced developer by reading book or watching videos. You get the knowledge, you get the experience by coding, answering questions, and helping others learn. So with all that, what do we talk about for a weekly plan? How should you plan this? Well, again, first of the week, you get the content. Monday, you get content. Thursday, you get the homework assignment. Spend the time Monday through Wednesday going over the content. You're looking at 4 to 9 hours of video content plus reading, if they're there. Don't wait until Thursday to do the content. Or worse yet, don't wait until the weekend to try to do the content and the homework assignment. That is way too much. If you can't schedule time Monday through Wednesday to consume, 4 to 9 hours of content, you're not going to be able to schedule 4 to 9 hours on a weekend to do that. This is a lot to take in, and you're going to get overwhelmed. Well, as you're going over the content, write those questions down because you're going to have them. Everybody does. Be the one that comes out there for those live sessions and ask those questions. Sure, we've got things planned, time's a little bit tight, but your questions are more valuable. We can get all this other stuff that we had planned during those live sessions. We can get that in any other way, in other means. Ask your questions. Help other students if they have questions. Thursday, you're going to be given the homework assignment. A lot of people like to start answering their homework answers right away. Other people will wait till Sunday. That's not what we recommend. What I found works and how I help my students that do have difficulties with the homework is I tell them on Thursday when they get it to read over it. Read over the assignments, make sure you understand everything that's there. And write on the assignment, say, okay, I think this is easy. And if you think something's difficult, put a check mark by it or a note to say, to remind you to reach out to your mentor. So leverage those resources, leverage us to do that. You're going to hit questions. You're going to find things that are going to be confusing and you're going to need help. A lot of people, I myself am one, I'm very quick to go run to Google for something first or any other resource before I ask a question. Don't do that. Don't go to Google first. When you're a member of this boot camp, you have got a vast wealth of resources in your mentors and other students. Use them. You'll get it. You'll get the answer to your question, and you won't have to worry about going down rabbit holes when you go through Google and you do your searches and you come up with things that are close to your question but not quite it, and it just doesn't work out. Your mentors know the assignments. They can help you. Use them. This boot camp, being an iOS developer or developer in any sense, is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And most importantly, this is something that you want to do. I mean, you're here today because you're interested in what the bootcamp could offer you to become an iOS developer. Enjoy the time that you have here. It's going to go by fast. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to be exposed to a lot of stuff. And it's an adventure. Enjoy it. It's supposed to be fun. And that's something I tell everybody every day. Have fun with the content, have fun with the assignments, because that's what it's supposed to be. Now, as you guys being attending this webinar, if this is something you'd like to do, like to attend, you can receive a 60% discount on the next boot camp. You can use this coupon code that follows as at the checkout. And remember, enrollment ends April 8th. Now, I'd like to introduce you to Ryan. He too is a former student, and I'd like to let you hear from him.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Like I said, my name is Ryan Harshaw. I am a 2022 graduate of the iOS Accelerator Bootcamp cohort. Um, I was actually part of Eric's class, Eric's cohort. A little bit about me. I had begun my programming journey as a Apple retail employee. And as an employee, we have access to resources, many of which being um, uh, books and all sorts of learning materials to learn Swift. So, of course, I never pass up free information. So I picked up a book about Swift UI, and I started learning it after I purchased my first MacBook. And I instantly fell in love with programming and building things. I've always had an aptitude for computers, so it kind of rekindled my love for it. And as my journey progressed, I wanted to enroll in a boot camp in order to solidify my knowledge. So I come across Kodeco's boot camp, and I had instantly applied or enrolled rather, because I was already a subscriber at that point. So I had enrolled, and it was such an amazing journey. And like much to what Eric said, it's accelerated. When they say accelerated, believe it. Mine was a 12-week cohort, and it was it was extremely challenging for me because at the time I had a 2-year-old and a newborn. So if you're in that situation, I wouldn't recommend it from experience. However, like again, like Eric said, it was very much worth it with dedication and hard work. Um, I had a plan and work accordingly, had to do the assignments and up till 4 in the morning, not because of the work, but because of a newborn. It gets really, really challenging sometimes. And I am one of those people who are like a fly on the wall. So in Discord, um, where you would be chatting, I would normally not ask questions because I'm really shy, or at least I was anyway. Um, and that is something that you do not want to do. I had my mentor in my small cohort, he's in India. So there was a huge time difference from where I would ask a question and then he would get back to me. And I want to encourage you all, if you're just like me, you break out that shell and just start talking to people, and you'll realize how warm and friendly the entire cohort is. Um, all of the mentors, super great. They know everything, or they know the resources or where to find what you're looking for. And they will take all the time they need to make sure that you understand it, which was great. Um, the we covered a wide range of topics coming from like persistent frameworks like core data, Swift UI, and even UI Kit. However, a lot of the material has evolved from my cohort, so you may not learn the same. Um, but we built on our we had a capstone project that we built upon every week using the material that we had learned in that week. Um, and it was quite challenging, and it can be if you don't manage your time manage your time well. Um, so if you find yourself having a rough time, just reach out to your mentor as early as possible and be as detailed as possible. And I can promise you that they'll take great care of you. And while I'm going throughout this, while I tell you all about my journey, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat and I will answer them the best I can. And so I ended up passing. I ended up graduating from the boot camp, and all the knowledge that I've obtained during those 12 weeks has paid off tremendously. I've been through a ton of technical interviews with employers, and I've passed a lot of them. Unfortunately, it hasn't led to the job of being an iOS developer. I had accepted an offer, but the job was later terminated. So unfortunately, I didn't get to start then. But luckily now, actually tomorrow, I actually go through my first interview as a iOS developer for a solar company. So wish me luck with that. But other than that, I can guarantee you it's transformational going through it all. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself, and then you meet a lot of good people along the way. And even now, since my boot camp, I've had the opportunity to mentor future past cohorts. So I had mentored one immediately after the one I graduated from, and I mentored alongside Eric in a previous cohort that ended in December of last year. So I find if you're still looking for that job after the boot camp, I definitely suggest that you get involved by teaching and giving back. So if you love Swift, then you'll love helping others join the Swift world and the Swift community. So um, I guess that's it about me. I'm gonna pass it back to Eric.
Thank you so much to both Eric and Ryan for sharing their tips and experiences here. I'd like to turn it over to the attendees now. Do you have any questions that we can get answered for you while you're here? Please just leave a message in chat if you do, and I'll read out your questions.
Remember now, you have to ask questions. You need to engage.
They'll just sit in the back row of this classroom. Okay, is there information on all participants' success finding roles in the current market? I think, Kayla, that's something you could weigh in on.
Yes, I'm happy to. I will. So actually, Maggie is the one who has been doing our data collection on this to find our exact rate of succession. But we have heard from multiple graduate students that since completing the boot camp that they've been able to go higher up in their dev journey and receive better positions and higher pay raises because of their certification and training that they received through our Kodeco boot camps. The exact ratio or percentage of success, I don't know off the top of my head, but if you want to send me an email at kayla@kodeco.com, I would be happy to find that and send it to you. So let me know if that's something that you are seriously needing, and I'm happy to help track it down for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I understand. Will writes, how confident, Ryan, to a new code base after boot camp? Are you asking how confident was Ryan to start using a new code base after the boot camp?
I believe that's what he's asking. I was fairly confident. What I was confident that I knew what I was doing. It was just that seeing files upon files and thousands upon thousands of lines of code kind of like shocked me because I'm used to my smaller projects that don't have as much code. So it was a shock. But once you once you go through it and you know exactly what you're doing or know exactly what you're going to be working on, you know, just talk to your team and you'll be just fine.
Thank you. Okay, Jeff asks, having lengthy prior experience with procedural languages like COBOL, RPG, etc., is it hard to unlearn those for iOS and Swift concepts?
Not too bad. I mean, with your background, the hardest thing that you're going to run across from is when you learned COBOL, RPG, and such. There was certain things you had to be concerned about: memory utilizations, null pointer exceptions, and things like that. The Swift language pretty much makes it to where it's hard to have a null pointer. In fact, they've actually have code that works around that. Another thing that you're used to seeing is that in those languages, you had to do everything. There wasn't anything hidden behind the scenes, so to say. In Swift and Swift UI using Xcode, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that inside the compiler that, you know, it'll kind of make you unsure for a little while, but it is something that's easy to pick up.
Okay, so this question says, I could see a bootcamp page which showed the prep steps, etc., after enrolling for bootcamp, but now it's not showing that page and instead asking to enroll. Can someone share the bootcamp homepage for enrolled students?
Do we have, I don't know if that's available to
For the April
unenrolled students.
bootcamp? Kayla, is that something you know? Can you send an email, please, to support@kodeco.com, and they'll be able to help you with that issue. Okay, Jeff, thanks you for your response. Thank you. Any other questions about how the bootcamp works or how you can make it work for you in your own life? Any questions about what kind of technical issues you'll be able to do after the bootcamp? Fortunately, I can't see if somebody's typing, so
Well, I
I
would
don't
say
want to cut someone off.
some of the things that you're going to get right out of the well, let me get to Peter's question first.
Let me just read it out loud.
Yeah.
Let me just read it out loud for the recording. Are there any recommendations for preparing for the start of the cohort?
I would say the biggest preparation thing you can do is work out your schedule. The schedule with your family and friends, work, and things like that. The next thing would be is to spend a little bit of time looking up Git if you've never heard of Git before. That's something that a lot of students struggle with, and rightfully so, because a lot of companies, a lot of organizations do not teach it. They already expect that you learn it on something like that on your own. And here we teach it and we use it each week. The next thing would be is, you know, take a look at the site, look at some of the things that are that we have posted there, and see what you have interest in. If you have an idea for an app, even better. That's, you know, something else that you can bring to the cohort with and ask questions about, and also work on.
Ryan, do you have any suggestions from your experience?
Oh, well, Eric took the words right out of my mouth. So, again, just make sure you're aware of your time constraints, and um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't want to sound like a broken record, just repeating what Eric said. So,
I will say there are also both free and subscription resources available on Kodeco for things like how to use Git. We also have some video courses like building your first iOS app from scratch that you can review if you want to just kind of get your feet under you before the boot camp itself starts. Okay, do we have any other questions? Oh, Eric, I think you wanted to make a comment before that question popped up.
Yeah, you mentioned if there was anything that they would be prepared for after the boot camp. After the boot camp, you should be able to hold your own in any iOS dev interview for a junior level developer. You will be able to answer all of the little tough questions, such as value types, reference types. You will be able to ask, when they ask you, have you any experience parsing JSON? You will be able to answer affirmatively, and in fact, you will even be able to show them that you've done this, because your project will be on GitHub for them to look at. So you'll be able to not only answer the questions, you'll be able to demonstrate to these potential employers what your skills are. They can see your code, they can see what you've been exposed to, and they can see what you've done. And this goes a long, long way. I use this in all of my interviews. I use my capstone for that. And everybody that I sent a link to viewed it. I had people that downloaded my project, built my project. I even had some give me some helpful comments on some things. So, and also one of them led to a job.
It's really cool. I love the idea of getting feedback on your project for your interviews. I will also say that when you sign up for a boot camp, you receive a subscription to Kodeco's entire mobile developer resource library. And this is it's over 5,000 pieces of content to help you with all aspects of your developer journey, including getting a job. We have a book called Hack Your Mobile Dev Interview, I believe is the official name. And it tells you how to use a capstone project to make yourself more visible in search, and a lot of other great tips. So we have a question from Jeff. Are there technical recommendations for desktop configuration software preloads before starting the bootcamp? Any minimum requirements?
I would say
believe
a system that will run Ventura or higher in that regards. You can install Xcode now, or you can wait until the boot camp comes around. The boot camp will show you different ways of installing Xcode that you can use to go forward. I mean, the easiest way is through the Mac App Store. But there are problems with installing it that way. So in the boot camp, we show other ways of installing Xcode. But if you already have it installed, that's no worries. You don't have to change anything.
And of course, you want to have a computer that can stream live calls, a headphone and a camera so that you can appear and ask your questions. The minimums requirements are quite low. And I believe the exact iOS version and everything is listed on the Bootcamp website. Made asks, if our goal is to become an iOS developer, when should we start applying to jobs? Is it a waste of time applying to places before finishing the bootcamp?
No, I don't think it is. Generally, I mean, for interview wise, by the 11th week, you should be able to answer. You should be able to handle the verbal interview or the interview piece. Your capstone won't be complete by that time, so you won't be able to leverage that too much. But if you had other projects or such that you could leverage, that would help as well too. But you will be ready to sit in interviews by the 11th week.
Okay, Will asks, I'm working as an iOS developer for several years, started from Swift 3. How can this bootcamp help me pick up the latest technology?
Well, in that regard, we use fairly much the latest and I would say greatest. So the content's going to be most over targeting iOS 15 through 16. And then in the bootcamp and the mentors, we also cover some of the new features in iOS 17 as well. We have students in our recent bootcamp that I think the vast majority are using Xcode 15, and they've gone over things such as the new state patterns, the Swift data, and other features that are inside iOS 17.
Also, if Will or anyone else here in this boot camp is working as a developer and would like their job to help pay for it or to pay for a boot camp, send the email to marketing@kodeco.com and we can give you some sample scripts that might be helpful. Okay, so any last questions before we close up?
I would just like to say one thing. We've talked about jobs. We've also had several students. In my last cohort, we had 3 students that released their app to the App Store. That they now have an app on the App Store. The cohort that Ryan and I were in also had students that were, we had one that released a Mac app and another one that released a game map that he built with Swift UI. So it's not just jobs. I mean, we're teaching you how to make iOS apps.
That could be really lucrative as an entrepreneur as well. Thank you so much to our panelists, and thank you to everyone who attended, especially those who spoke up and asked questions. If anyone has, Jeff, yes, I will send out an email after this. I'm going to include a link to the video once we have that online, as well as a reminder about the discount and a link to sign up. I believe it's bootcamp.kodeco.com, but it's pretty easy to find on our Kodeco website. So thank you so much for attending, asking questions. We really hope we'll get to know you better in the next bootcamp cohort. And if anything comes to mind, reach out. I'm Sandra@kodeco.com, or you can reach out to support or marketing. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Will. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.